Good morning. Good morning. My name is Nancy Juetten, and I am your host today for today's podcast guesting success masterclass. And I am so thrilled that we have people joining from all over the world to be part of this very juicy conversation. And my intention is for you to get amazing and massive value during this call so that you feel that you can absolutely consider podcast guesting to be your new and favorite visibility strategy that can also build your business and make you a star on the rise. And I'm very excited that you have joined me. My plan for you today is for you to spend at least 60 minutes with me so I can deliver the value that I've promised. And if it turns out that by the 60-minute mark, you've gotten every bit of value that you came for and you feel completely full, you're welcome to click away and go about your day. And if it turns out that the value that I bring is so deep that you feel that there may be more work for us to do, I will be extending an invitation for you to consider how you might work with me or other people that I know. And if that's exciting to you, I look forward to having the opportunity to continue that conversation. Let's see. So with this in mind, I want to start with a little bit of a story to actually grab your attention. Does it ever drive you crazy when you're driving around in your car and you're listening to your favorite podcast, and what you end up experiencing is the voice of your best and most admired competitor is on the air instead of yours? Does it burn your chops that this person is sharing his story, his success, his unique and distinct point of view, his call to action, when you know in your heart and your head and your gut that you're actually quite superior to the person who's on the podcast, and you're thinking to yourself, why is he on the air and why not me? The truth is, we all want to be seen, heard, and celebrated for what it is that we do. We want more of the right, epic, right fit clients to know how to find us so that we can do more of what it is that we want. And we want to know how to make an approach with these people who are influential so that the finesse we demonstrate actually opens the door for us to be the person on the air instead of the person driving the car, feeling visibility, envy, and jealousy, and a whole host of other emotions. I know this happens all the time. I hear about it every day from the top performers that I get to work with. And so if you've been struggling with visibility, envy, or jealousy of someone else's star on the rise, I promise you that by the end of today's call, you're going to get some practical, tactical suggestions about how you can solve that problem. This training is for you if you are a top performer who wants more visibility as a podcast guest, or you're a high-value virtual assistant who wants to add even more value and earn more money by creating a new stream of revenue for yourself, or you're an independent professional who wants to learn to master the process of podcast guesting so you can start getting visible right away. So those are three key people that should be here today, and I'm curious, which are you? If you identify as a top performer who wants more visibility as a podcast guest, won't you please put 1 in the chat? If you're a high-value independent virtual assistant, please put 2 in the chat. And if you are an independent service professional who wants to learn how to get booked on more podcasts, put 3 in the chat. And then in a moment, I'll ask Holly what she's learned about who's here, because that would be super useful to know. During today's session, I'm going to share with you some insider secrets so you can secure the right podcast get bookings, even starting today, so that you can bring in more business, gain credibility, and become a sought-after authority in your industry. I'm also going to help you learn how to leverage podcast guesting so you can elevate your brand and generate a steady stream of high-value leads, clients, and opportunities, with the added benefit of having a well-trained assistant to support you every step of the way. I'm going to uncover some proven strategies for crafting attention-grabbing bios, interview questions, and pitches that make you an irresistible guest on any podcast. And then we're going to have a little bit of fun because I'm going to show you and demonstrate how you can use ChatGPT to get media ready, media savvy, and on message fast, so that you can refine your messaging, create compelling content, and engage with your audience like never before. And I know you're going to love this because it's so mind-bending and so possibility opening. So I'm super, super excited. Now you're probably thinking, why should I be listening to you, Nancy? Why should I be listening to you? And I don't like to spend a lot of time bragging about myself, but I do want you to know that I came into the world with a megaphone in one hand and a pen in the other. Messaging is my magic, and broadcasting the brilliance of other people has been a lifelong endeavor. My dad was an actor in Hollywood. He loved to be the center of attention, and the training I gained by being in the shadow of a person with a very big personality who wanted all the air for himself has prepared me for a lifelong journey of success, advocating and championing other people. I have stood behind powerful people and seriously successful entrepreneurs like Fran Bigelow of Fran's Chocolates, Gene Thompson of Seattle Chocolate Company, Roger Staubach, the football great. I've even done some PR for Vern Yip and David Bromstad of HGTV. I have been a publicist all of my life. I know what it is to create relationships with people in the media so that they will pay attention to the stories that I'm bringing forth to serve their audience. But more to the point, I want to show you that you don't have to have friends in the media to make these powerful connections. You have to have the ability to listen, understand what value you bring, make a winning approach, and distinguish what makes you special, different, and preferred. And if you can do that as a podcast guest, you are miles ahead and ready to take your place on one or more podcasts a week as a steady diet for the lifetime of your successful business. So do I have PR experience? Yes. Do I have excellent skills in this regard that I can transfer to you? Absolutely. But here's the thing I want you to know. I really believe and take the stand that you can learn how to do this and do it well so that you own these skills within your own company for the rest of your life. And in this tricky economy where some people are pulling in their spending or being incredibly discerning about what they hire out and what they keep in-house, I know you're going to learn some things today that are going to get you very excited about your own upside without having the pressure of having to get return on investment on a high-priced agency representing your interests. Because when a high-priced agency represents your interests, when the volume is up, the volume is up. But when the dollars are gone, the volume goes down. And how does that serve you? You can learn how to do this yourself. And I'm going to show you a lot of what you can do today to get on the path. So let's first start with a story. Let's talk about my buddy, Joe Palo. Joe Palo is a top sales trainer to top performers. These are people who want to sell more to their epic right fit clients, but not spend more time working. He's written a book that's coming out this summer, and it's all about the art of selling nothing, how to make the logical, how to make the emotional sale without logic. I'm blowing the title, Joe, forgive me, I apologize. But he came to me and he says, I want to learn podcast guesting because I think I've got something to say and I want to say it a lot, especially since I've got this book coming out. And so he says to me, and maybe you can identify with this, I love being on a microphone. I love talking. I'm really good at it. But some of this administrative stuff, that's not my jam. I'm not going to do any of that. And so I say to him, Joe, you've got to bring an assistant along with you to do the parts of this that you won't do, because that's how you're going to maximize your impact. One without the other isn't good enough. Are you game? So what he does is he brings his niece along, Holly Lawrence, who's with us here today. And they decided that they were going to double down on podcast guesting. And in a 12-week window, they booked themselves on 19 shows, many of which are the top 1% podcasts in the space that Joe wants to serve. Bam, hallelujah, fantastic. And now the two of them are unstoppable because they know what to do, they know how to do it, they do it with the finesse and grace and impact that is expected. And not only that, but Joe is so generous that whenever he's in the green room, when the microphone has gone silent, he says to the host, who else do you want to have on the show? Because I've got a wonderful wheelhouse of amazingly well-trained colleagues, and I'd love to recommend them to you as your next guest. When that kind of behavior is in active play, relationships are being formed all over the place, and everyone wins. Joe is more visible. Joe is more credible. Joe has more authority. He's doing more of the right business. Holly has a whole new skill set to serve Joe at a higher level. She can charge more for her services, and everybody's happy. Joe's working in his zone of genius. So is Holly. There's more cake, less cringe. And that's all because they decided to divide and conquer to accomplish more together than they could by themselves. Now we have the title of the book, I remember. How to Sell Nothing, the Logical Way to Make the Emotional Sale. Joe is being seen, heard, and acknowledged in a bigger and lasting way, just in time to celebrate the new book and his expanding business. So what do you have in common with Joe as a top performer? Do you love to talk, type, create relationships, and serve others? Well, then podcast guesting is something you're going to want to consider. And you're going to want to bring an assistant along to do the things that you don't like, because that's how the wins happen in greater succession. My question to you is, do you want what Holly and Joe are having? What value can you bring to a podcast host that makes your message worth listening to and talking about right now? This isn't, I'm on a book tour to schlep a bunch of books and I want to get on a bunch of shows to sell a lot of books. If that is the approach you take, that is not a value add. This is not, let me sell my stuff on your show. This is not making the show a vehicle for you to hijack and turn into your own platform. What value can you bring as a guest? What conversation can you lead? What provocative point of view can you bring? What's special, different, and preferred about your unique way of solving a problem that is making the world a better place? These are the kinds of things you want to be thinking about when you are a guest on a podcast who is seeking the opportunity to welcome an audience that's much greater than any audience you can assemble on your own. So let me ask you a couple of questions. Why does getting visible in the media, podcast specifically, matter to you? Do you need more of the right people in the Zoom room or in the real room with whom to share your story, your message, and your mission? How would it feel to turn on your favorite podcast to hear your voice? And what outcomes could you realize in your business? And how much fun would you have getting to do these kinds of things? What else drives you to want to be seen in this way? If you could take out a piece of paper and write down what is you're feeling about this, I think you're going to find that as we move through today's call, you're going to realize this is a lot more important to you than perhaps you've given acknowledgement up until now. So shifting gears a little bit, isn't it true that we do the things we like to do and we avoid the things that we don't like to do? I'm just double checking. I heard a little voice. Holly, everything going good in the Zoom room?
Yes, everything's going good. Thanks.
Okay. So can you put those questions on visual? Let's see. I'm not able to do that right now, but when you watch the replay, you'll be able to take excellent notes. I'm so glad you asked that question. So getting back, there's things you like to do, and there's the things that you won't do. And when you do things together, everything's so much easier. What I believe is that when you spend 80% of your time in the cake zone, you accomplish more and enjoy the journey. And I really believe that if you live in the energy, engagement, and enthusiasm zone and kick cringe activities to the curb, not only do you love your business a whole lot more, but you love your life. I always say it's got to be the triple E or bust. And when I say triple E or bust, I would be remiss if I did not tell you that last year I was diagnosed with breast cancer and had a really tough time going through what that involved. And when I came through this black cat crossing my path and realizing, what is it that I'm here to do? Who is it that I'm here to help? And why do I need to make the magic happen now more than ever before? The answers came through loud and clear. I want to spend my time doing the things I love, and I want to delegate the things that I'm the least excited about, because I only have one life to live, and you do too. So let's make the most of it, and let's do the divide and conquer so you can be brilliant and use the best possible value of your time. I want you to know that the skills and finesse to be brilliant as a podcast guest are not rocket science. You and your assistant can learn and apply these skills and accomplish brilliant results without it becoming a full-time job for either of you. Now, a little bit of a reality check. If you're thinking, yeah, that all sounds great. I just want to hire a done-for-you booking agency to book me on a bunch of shows. And that may very well be an excellent choice for you, especially if you're a CEO with a thriving business and you want to delegate to a service to do this for you. Just be aware that the top booking agencies that I know of charge $2,500 a month, and many require 3, 6, or 12-month commitments to that service, and they promise 4 podcast guest spots a month. If you have the discretion to invest at that level, let me hear from you. Send me an email at nancy@getknowngetpaid.com, and I will gladly and personally introduce you to a couple of the very best podcast booking agencies that I know, so you can have that conversation. But would it surprise you to know that you can do this yourself? You can book yourself on 4 shows a month just by learning what I'm going to be teaching you today. Joe and Holly did it, 19 shows in 12 weeks. Karen and Renee did it, 15 shows in 12 weeks. Another of my clients did it so well that she started her own little podcast guesting booking service, and now she's thriving in that role. You don't have to spend or invest at that level to get the good results if you're just willing to roll up your sleeves and apply some new skills that I'm going to talk to you about. So you might be thinking, why podcast guesting? And I don't want to go all over the place with this, because you probably heard other people talk about it before coming to me. But I will say that there are somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.7 million podcasts on the air today. Some say 3 million. 400,000 of those shows are actively producing now and accepting interviews. And that means there's a whole lot of shows that you could guest on, provided you found the right audience to message match. Now, podcast guesting became really hot during the pandemic, because what else were we going to do? We couldn't leave our houses, and if we needed to create a revenue rush for our products, programs, and services, we sure as heck weren't going to make it happen by going to a live event or going to a networking function. Even Jack Canfield said he got together with a bunch of his buddies and said, what are we going to do to help each other consistently grow our businesses during this very disruptive time? So these top performers started hosting each other on each other's YouTube channels and on their podcasts and in their Facebook Live and in their mastermind. And they started linking arms with their best colleagues to have their voices raised, and they created their own revenue rush for whatever it was that they were bringing to market. I heard Jack Canfield, who's America's success coach, say that there is no new normal post-pandemic, but he calls it the new better, because you can broadcast your brilliance from your home office around the world, around the country, around your geographic area, never leave your house, and still be home to have dinner with your wife or spouse or partner, have lunch, take the dog for a walk, and play with your kids. The opportunities you have to share your voice on the right podcasts offer you the opportunity to boost your brand, your reputation, and your sales. It's well documented. So what is the 6P system that you need to follow in order to make the most of this powerful visibility strategy to become the podcast dream guest that a top host can't wait to book? The first thing you want to do is to prepare. And couple these practical things. You want to have a professional quality microphone at your desk. You want to have decent lighting so that you look the very best you can given what God gave you to work with. If there's video involved, you want to make sure you have a backdrop behind you so that you portray a professional brand that reflects well on who you are and how you serve. And you want to be able to look right at the camera because not all podcasts are audio only. Some of them are video only, and you need to be able to do both. So you want to get those kinds of things set up. The other things you want to do to prepare is to consider, what are you going to talk about? Who is your ideal audience to benefit from what you want to talk about? What qualifies you to be someone that a host would be excited to chat with? And how could they make it easy for them to book you? That's where preparing a media one sheet becomes super handy. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we move along. The next step is to position yourself as a brilliant guest. And this is where you really want to dig deep and consider what makes you special, different, and preferred compared to other people who do similar work as you do. There are many coaches who help other coaches get clients. There are many book coaches who help book authors become Amazon #1 best-selling authors. There are many relationship coaches who help you become a better human being, whether you stay in the relationship or leave. What makes you special, different, and preferred so that a host would say, that's somebody I can't wait to talk to, instead of someone who's a karaoke singer talking about what everyone else talks about and doesn't have anything special or different to say? Once you get clear on those things, it's time to prioritize the show that you want to be on, or the multiple shows that you want to be on. And then you will, and I'll share a little bit about how you can do that. And then you want to make a winning approach or a pitch, or to introduce yourself to the person of influence who has the power to bring you on the show. And then once you're on the show, you want to be able to ping pong the listeners who are tuning in to compel them to want to take a step in your direction. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that. And why do these P's matter? Because when you master them by being a guest on shows regularly, the right shows, you will find that when the host says, tell me, Holly, what is the next best step that we should take in moving in that our listeners or viewers should take in your direction, you're going to be able to say with conviction and with clarity the specific, terrific call to action, singular call to action that the host and their audience will appreciate, but more importantly, that their listeners will remember to take action on, so that you can welcome the new leads, the new phone calls, the new collaborations, and that beautiful music of ka-ching in your shopping cart. So I just want to come over to the chat and see what's happening there and see if there's anybody that has a question or a comment about what we've said so far. Anything going on in the chat so far that we need to know about, Holly?
Nope, nothing at this time.
Okay. Oh, I see. You want to have a larger impact. Can you put those in the visual? I'm an AI assistant. Oh, very good. Very good. All right. Coming back to the content. I'm just coming back here. Okay. 6 P's: prepare, position, prioritize, pitch, ping pong, and profit. So what you love to do, that's the cake. And what makes you cringe, well, you know what that's all about. So what are the things about podcast guesting that might be cake for you, especially if you're a top performer? You might love being heard on top shows. Is that a yes for you? Put a yes in the chat. You like being invited to shows and invited back. You love speaking up and having great conversations with influential people. You love scoring new deals with hosts. You love welcoming new clients and attractive opportunities. You love being easily found in a Google search. And this whole cake gets a great big deal of frosting, because what happens when you do all these things is you get to amp up your visibility, your credibility, and your authority by talking to influential people with curated, loyal audiences. If you want some cake in your business, go ahead and put cake in the chat. Now, here's the point in the call that I would be remiss if I did not mention. I heard from a number of you who completed your podcast guesting assessment that some of you are thinking about starting a podcast of your own. And you know what? For many people, that's an excellent strategy. But if you are brand new to podcast guesting, I highly encourage you to guest on the shows of others first before starting your own show, particularly if making money sooner versus later is your priority. Yes, it makes sense to have a show of your own to be able to offer reciprocity to people that you get to meet on your podcasting journey. There's so many other strategies you can pursue as a podcast host that are well worth exploring. But if what your urgent need is to drive leads, connections, clients, and cash to your business, how much smarter is it to tap into a loyal, curated, existing audience that you can lasso back into your own ecosystem first? You want to prove to yourself that you love talking on podcasts, that you're good at it, and that you can create an impact in your shopping cart or in your lead generation to make it worth your while. Do all of these things and get masterful at it before you start your own show, because you know what? It's time consuming to do. The monetization piece can be delayed, and those are things to keep in mind, especially if you have an urgent need to create magic in the shopping cart and lead generation sooner versus later. So I can't wait to see who's looking for the cake. Now let's talk about the cringe. Excuse me. Some people say that finding the right shows and vetting the shows and pitching and risking rejection are things that make them cringe. Some don't love to follow up. Some struggle with a nagging doubt that they don't know what they're doing, and that plays with their confidence. Some people don't know how to write a review on iTunes, and they're not going to start today. Some people don't want to fill out the pre-interview questionnaire. They feel that's administrative. They don't want to spend their time doing that. Some people don't know how or want to create their media one sheet. And some people don't want to share out episodes so that more eyes and ears can hear and see the episodes. If any of these are cringe-worthy activities for you as a top performer aiming to be piercing the cake with a fork, with your fork, this is all the more reason that you want to find an able assistant to support you in doing the things that you won't. Now, as I was inviting you all to join me for today's call, I let you all know that I created a position description of the personal qualities and skills that an ideal assistant should have in order to serve you as a brilliant podcast booker. If you downloaded this, good on you. If you did not yet download it, it's in the Facebook group in the Files tab. And the Facebook group can be found at getknowngetpaid.com/group. And you'll find it right there. But if you're an assistant thinking, do I have what it takes to do this kind of work? Read this and validate that you do. If you're a top performer and you're thinking, this is the stuff I'm not going to do, who am I going to recruit to do it for me? I've just made your job so much easier in ability to recruit that person, because I've written the job description for you, and you can go out to your own network and find someone that could be trained on all of these things and to support you in a way that goes beyond administrivia. What if you had an assistant that was helping your starter rise so you can make big money doing more of what you love? I think this is a huge opportunity for assistants to upgrade their skills to serve their principles more powerfully. And I hope you're excited at that possibility. Because what we can do is we can do it all. We can divide and conquer, but either way, wins are straight ahead. And the wins are always straight ahead. So what are some of the ways that you can secure the right podcast bookings so you can bring in more business and gain credibility and become that sought after authority in your industry? Well, I want you to start with the first idea that discernment is important. You do not have time to waste talking to the wrong people. Just like with dating, many of you may be single. You don't just go out with everyone who asks. You have certain standards and boundaries around who you will go out with to enjoy an evening on the town. Well, the same needs to be true with respect to whose podcast you're going to guest on. One of my clients, Bill Schulteis, is a financial advisor who has quite a contingent of surgeons and doctors and other people in the medical profession who he serves to help make sure that they have enough money saved for retirement to love the rest of their lives. He prioritizes the kinds of shows that gentlemen wearing white coats and women wearing white coats as physicians would listen to. For example, The White Coat Investor. How smart of him to be a guest on The White Coat Investor to talk to doctors and medical professionals about important matters relevant to their financial planning and retirement planning. He also chooses shows like Morningstar, The Long View, to share his unique coffeehouse investor philosophy so that you can get on with your life and not be beholden to Wall Street to ensure your success. So as a top performer, as an assistant who's supporting a top performer, you want to find and listen to the shows that are the right fit. You want to find out how to make an approach. You want to learn about prior programming to make sure that what they talk about and what you talk about are aligned. And then you want to find a way to make an approach so that you can actually have a booking to show for it. So there are some essential considerations that you want to make. And a couple of them are, when choosing a show, the audience to message match really does matter. Number two, the podcast should have at least 20 episodes already produced and be actively producing, and should have starred reviews that when you read them, you think to yourself, wow, these raves are amazing. I would be proud to be on a show like that. And then you also want to listen to the podcast to make sure it's the right vibe for your brand and your own vibe. I'm a classy gal. I don't swear. I speak in complete sentences. And sometimes when I listen to podcasts and the girlfriend banter is so off the charts that I know I'm not a fit, I simply don't commit. Have standards and boundaries around where you're going to show up. If someone says, I'm starting a podcast and I have zero experience being a podcast host and this brand new endeavor, that's great. I'm happy for the person who's starting out a brand new podcast. But for you as a top performer, I want you to be on shows that already have traction, because it's important for you to be heard and seen by people who have the inclination to want to do business with you one day and hopefully very soon. Now, how do we leverage whatever happens to us with podcast guesting? There's so much to say about this, and in the time we have, we're going to be very brief here. But when you are seen, heard, and celebrated on a podcast, you will be shown the recording or the video or the audio snippets of whatever happened. And it is the best possible thing for you to do to leverage the heck out of that. Create an online press room where people can see and hear you delivering your message on a whole variety of podcasts. Use your LinkedIn profile, the featured section, to highlight your most recent episodes. Divide and conquer between your assistant to make sure you're using social media to showcase not only what the podcast was about, but the big pearls of wisdom that were dropped so that more eyes and ears can see it. Because I'll tell you something, when you are the kind of guest that does that sort of thing, other hosts notice that you are not only a guest, but that you went the extra mile to market the episode. And you know what you'll find? Some of those hosts will listen or watch your shows, love what you've said, reach out to you and say, I heard you on Bob's podcast last week. You rocked it out of the park. Would you deliver a similar conversation for my show? What if the shows were coming to you instead of you having to make pitches? The things you do after the show to make sure the show is seen and heard are going to make an impact on what people notice about the kind of contributor you are to the overall success of their podcast. Because let's not forget that they're the people, the hosts have the power. What do they want? They want subscribers. They want 5-star reviews. They want more downloads. And they want really great, well-prepared guests who show up to deliver value that has not been shared before on their program. If you can be that person, you're already cooking with gas. So how can we uncover some proven strategies to make our bios, interview questions, and pitches even better than we thought they could be, and to make it fast and easy? This is where I'd like to make this call a little bit interactive, and I'd like to have a little bit of fun. Anybody willing to have some fun? Let me hear fun in the chat. I'm going to try something today, and I'm not sure how it's going to go, but we're going to try it. I see Chris Ponce wants to have some fun. Just you wait. I'm going to call on you. Okay, so we've all heard about ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT, artificial intelligence. Everywhere you turn, someone is talking about how to use artificial intelligence to do a whole variety of things. Did you know that you can use artificial intelligence to write your bios, your interview questions, your hot topics? Did it even ever occur to you? So I want to demonstrate, and so I'm going to try to share my screen, and let's hope that everything goes well. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to hit share, and now I'm going to just give you a minute, see if I can make this happen. ChatGPT, right here. Can you see my screen? Let me see a yes in the chat, or give me a thumbs up. Okay. See, in this prompt, I say, podcast hosts love it when potential guests can summarize why they would be a great guest and add value to their show within 60 seconds or less. Knowing what you know about Nancy Juetten, founder of Get Known, Get Paid, what would you suggest as a 60-second message that would compel a host to lean in and say, I can't wait to book you for my show? Now I'm just going to hit this little caret. I'm going to hit enter. And all of a sudden, ChatGPT is telling you why I could be a great guest on the show. Introducing Nancy Juetten, the extraordinary founder of Get Known, Get Paid. In just 60 seconds, Nancy can transform your podcast into an invaluable resource for your audience. Her wealth of expertise in personal branding and publicity, she brings a unique blend of strategies and insights that will elevate your show to new heights. Her proven track record, et cetera, beyond her expertise, her magnetic personality and infectious enthusiasm create an engaging and impactful experience. As a trusted mentor, her contributions extend beyond the podcast episode. Her insights into building a brand and attracting premium clients, et cetera. So if you're ready to provide your listeners with the tools they need to succeed, invite Nancy as a guest on your show. Prepare to lean in and say, I can't wait to book you for my show, because Nancy's expertise and magnetic presence will undoubtedly add tremendous value to your podcast. Bam! So now, Chris Ponce, I see that you raised your hand a little while ago. I don't know what's going to happen when we do this together, but let's just see. I'm going to go back to the prompt that I wrote, and I'm going to do a cut and paste, copy. I'm going to come down, and I'm going to pop it in the chat again. And I see that I'm going to change Nancy Juetten to Chris Ponce. I'm going to spell it right. And I'm going to add of Social Impact 360, because I know that's the organization that you are a part of. And Chris, if you could unmute yourself just for a moment. Chris, is there anything else that I should know about you that would help ChatGPT rock this out of the park?
Yeah, I guess so. Some important context, like, being a first generation high school graduate, community college, University of Washington.
Okay, go slow, because I'm going to put some of that in here.
So we could say I've
just a second, and knowing that, and given that he is are you the first generation high school graduate?
Yes, first generation everything here in the States, and also including a Marine Corps veteran.
I'm just going to see, like I'm saying, knowing what you know about Chris Ponce of Social Impact 60, and given that he's a first generation high school graduate in his family and a Marine Corps veteran, aren't you also a college
Yes,
graduate?
yes, from the
Oh,
University of Washington with a public health degree.
okay.
And
And University of, got to get this right, University of Washington nursing,
public health.
okay, public health graduate in his family. Let's just see what happens. Just getting the spelling right.
And then I guess through 360 Social Impact Studios, I'm an entrepreneur in residence, or EIR.
Entrepreneur in residence. Okay, let's just see what happens. I'm just making sure I've got the spelling right because, you know, I'm a grammarian at the end of the day. Let's just see what happens now. I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, may I read this out loud, Chris?
Yes, that's awesome. Wow.
Introducing Chris Ponce, a remarkable entrepreneur in residence at Social Impact 360. In just 60 seconds, Chris can bring a unique blend of experiences and perspectives that will make your podcast shine. As a first-generation high school and University of Washington public health graduate in his family and a Marine Corps veteran, he embodies resilience, determination, and a commitment to making a difference. His journey from overcoming personal challenges to serving his country in the military and excelling in academia makes him an inspiring guest who can captivate your audience. His diverse background allows him to speak to a wide range of topics, including entrepreneurship, leadership, social impact, and the importance of education. As an entrepreneur in residence, Chris has an in-depth understanding of what it takes to build and scale impactful businesses that drive positive change. His insights into social entrepreneurship, sustainable business practices, and community engagement will provide your listeners with invaluable guidance and inspiration. Beyond his accomplishments, his genuine authenticity and relatability will forge a powerful connection with your audience. His ability to share personal stories, lessons learned, and actionable strategies will leave your listeners motivated to pursue their own dreams and make a difference in their communities. So, if you're looking for a guest who can inspire, educate, empower your audience, book Chris for your show. Lean in and say, I can't wait to have you as a guest, because Chris's unique journey, entrepreneurial expertise, and unwavering dedication to social impact will undoubtedly make your podcast a must listen for your audience.
Wow. Yeah, I'm at a loss for words. That's awesome.
Is it accurate?
Yeah, it's pretty spot on. Yeah, it's very, very accurate, and that's exactly why the larger reach for that impact and just to push that motivation. Averaging 100-hour work weeks for the past 10 years, it's kind of tough. So just the lessons learned that I want to share, drive that impact. That's the whole point of 360 Social Impact Studio. So this is great.
So I'm so impressed with what you've accomplished, and I don't know how ChatGPT knows all these things about you that we just found out about. But for those of you who are live on this call, ChatGPT is absolutely worth something to visit, because I'm just trying to scroll up here. I'm just trying to scroll up because you're probably going to want to copy this prompt. Pick up your phone and take a picture of this prompt. And then when we're done here today, I want you to go and do this for yourself. So now I want to try something else to make this super fun. Chris, are you willing to play with me on this? Can we keep it going?
Yes, of course.
So, and I didn't know Chris was going to be here, and he'd had no preparation, and this is all on the fly and in the moment. Okay. So if I say knowing, this is what I'm going to type in. I'm talking to ChatGPT like ChatGPT is my friend. And I'm saying, knowing what we now know about Chris Ponce, can you generate 3 provocative and compelling hot topics that he can address as a guest on a top 1% podcast about social impact and entrepreneurship. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see what happens. Certainly. Here are 3 questions, hot topics. Unleashing the power of social entrepreneurship, how entrepreneurs can drive sustainable change. From battlefield to boardroom, lessons in leadership and resilience. Bam. Equity and access in education. Oh my gosh. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's great.
Are you gobsmacked? I mean, isn't that just an amazing thing?
And it's interesting because I was invited to be a speaker at a Flywheel investment conference, and they didn't want me to speak to number 2. So that's pretty spot on. That's one of the things I spoke to.
So now we're going to just do one more thing here. So we brainstormed a way to introduce you, to pitch you. We've now brainstormed 3 possible hot topics that would bring value to the podcast. And now what I want, and I want this for all of you, knowing what you know about Chris Ponce, please generate a 50-word bio written in the 3rd person that positions Chris as a thought leader and innovator up, I've got to spell that right, up to big things. Make it compelling and provocative, please. I don't know what's going to happen, but here we go. Love this. Chris Ponce, a visionary thought leader and innovator, is transforming the landscape of social impact and entrepreneurship. As a Marine Corps veteran and first-generation graduate, he defies convention, fearlessly tackling pressing societal challenges. With an unwavering commitment to driving sustainable change, Chris pioneers groundbreaking initiatives that inspire, empower, and ignite meaningful transformation. What do you think about that?
I love it. It's clear and concise.
So for those of you who say, I struggle writing my bio, I can't write 50 words to save my life, I can't brainstorm topics that are going to differentiate me from everyone else that's doing what I'm doing. Can you see how ChatGPT can be your copy assistant, and that you can start using this vehicle now and to save yourself time, energy, and trouble and get to success a whole lot faster? Can I see some yes in the chat? So again, take a picture of the prompt, knowing what you know about your name. And just for fun, and this is just for fun, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think we should have fun. More cake, less cringe, right? So bear with me. We're just having fun now. Knowing what you know, make it boring and unremarkable. I'm just doing this for contrast, okay? Chris Ponce is an individual who has dabbled in various fields. He has some experience in social impact and entrepreneurship, but nothing particularly noteworthy. While he may have some ideas, they have yet to gain significant traction or recognition. Are we having fun yet? I'm not doing this to poke fun at you, Chris. You get that, right?
Yeah,
what I'm trying to do is demonstrate. Listen, I wrote the book, Bye Bye Boring Bio. I'm pretty internet famous for it. I have seen so many boring bios in my lifetime. It's not until you ask ChatGPT to write a boring and unremarkable bio about you that you may get the wake-up call that you've missed the boat. And you're wondering why people aren't paying attention. Because you didn't ask for provocative and compelling. You didn't ask for innovative and and memorable. You asked for blah, 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 and you got blah, blah, blah. If this has been your problem, your pain, your ache, your aggravation, I hope I've solved it. And is there anyone here that's willing to say, yeah, I'm going to try ChatGPT? Let me see the hands in the chat. Let me just see what people are saying. Love your suggestions. I've been having a blast with AI writing. Yes, love it, love it. I'm doing it. Yes, ma'am. All right, this is incredible. This is what I'm talking about. What you're experiencing here is the joy that I bring using my talent with words to advocate and champion people who are in the room so that they can get a breakthrough right away. And you know what? There's so much more value under the tent over here. I'm sure you pretty much get that idea already. So now, if it's all right with you, I'm going to go back to some of the content that I had prepared for you. Hopefully, if you don't have a ChatGPT account yet, you are now inspired to set up a free account today. I posted the link to ChatGPT in the Facebook group, and you can find it anywhere in a Google search. But sign up for a free account and knock yourself out and have some fun. And can you see how between you and your assistant doing this work ahead of time, your media one sheet can come together in short order? You could have it done today if you were so inspired. And not only that, you would have had fun doing it. And having more fun is really where it's at for me, for sure. Okay, so now I've uncovered some proven strategies, and hopefully you're excited about that. I've shared with you how to brainstorm hot topics. And when you brainstorm the hot topics and when you do your bio and you write your interview questions, that would be the other thing you could do with ChatGPT. Knowing what you know about Chris Ponce, can you draft 5 compelling interview questions that would allow him to show up as a thought leader, add value to a conversation, and leave the audience well served? And you just might be remarkably surprised by what comes back. Whatever it is that comes back from ChatGPT, please don't just take it on face value and run with it. Make sure to put your own thumbprint on it so that it sounds and feels like you. Because I think in an AI world that we find ourselves in, there will be some people that will figure out that you used AI to create something, and all the pitches might start sounding the same. So the more you give ChatGPT good insight, it will come back with great information, but put your thumbprint on it. Okay, moving along. When you're writing your hot topics, it can be helpful to put some specificity behind what you're talking about. Like Joe Paulo talks about 5 easy to avoid sales call mistakes and what to do instead to double or triple your sales. A host will love that because he can instantly see how he could create a 20-minute segment where that's what Joe would talk about. Now, Patty Buccellato, who's a stylist for top-level professional women, she likes to talk about 5 easy hacks to style yourself for every virtual or in-person event with confidence, relevance, and ease, and 1 thing to do that can change the game instantly. There's some specificity, 5 things you're going to learn, and 1 thing that's going to change the game. Another of her topics are 3 uncommon ways to look great on camera for standout personal flair, even if you think you didn't get the style gene. This one, apply this no-fail strategy to navigate the shifting fashion trend maze, particularly if you're 45 or better. The specificity that you put into your hot topics makes you more compelling, because it's not like I talk about a variety of things in a variety of ways. Boy, oh boy, I can't wait to talk to you. It's, yeah, I know what we're going to talk about, and it's going to be a hot segment. So get excited about what you want to talk about and the value that you can bring. You'll be so glad. Now, you're probably thinking, how can I get started with this? I'm having so much fun. I can't wait to take my place at the microphone. Did I get that right? Okay, so here's what I want you to know. There are podcast guesting matchmaking sites on Facebook and portals that I can direct you to where you can make these matches as early as today. You can go to the podcast guest collaboration group on Facebook. There's 20 or 30,000 members there, and they're all looking to find a guest or be a guest. What if you were playing there today too? You could be served up an opportunity tomorrow, and if you were media ready, media savvy, and on point, you could be speaking up on someone's podcast as early as next week. my clients who learn the finesse of making brilliant pitches often respond to these opportunities and get selected straight away. And my clients also benefit from me scouting these sites, finding opportunities that are right for them, where I tag them and say, Craig Louder, this sounds perfect for you. And then Craig Louder is alerted to reply, and all of a sudden he's in front of this podcast host, and because he knows how to make an approach, he just might be getting that booking. If you don't show up where the opportunities are, you kind of end up under a rock going nowhere very fast. So podcast guest spots can be achieved very quickly if you join some of these groups. My favorite one, and if you'll put this in the chat, Holly, it's getknowngetpaid.com/podmatch. This is not a free service. It's about $20 a month, and they also have premium memberships there. But the beautiful thing about Podmatch is that you can take what you create on your Media One sheet and you can put it on their portal, and you can populate your profile with the keywords that people would be looking for you to find someone like you. And you could be served up an invitation to be a guest as early as tomorrow. How much more fun can you have responding to opportunities that are right for you, that are coming direct to you without you having to do so much heavy lifting? I love this. I hope you do too. So another thing you're going to want to be able to do is you're going to want to be able to describe what you want to talk about in 1 minute or less, because chances are you go to networking functions and you go to online networking events, and you have opportunities on these podcast sites to prepare a video that shows what you have to bring to the party and why you would be a great guest. Isn't it true that some people learn best by reading, some people learn best by watching, and there's some people that learn best by being kinesthetic in a room? Well, if you have video and print working for you, you're going to appeal to more of the right decision makers and probably stand apart at hello. But the challenge you may find is that you don't know how to make a 1 minute audio pitch. And since you don't know how, you don't do it, and then you miss out. So this recipe that I'm going to share with you is very reliable and works very, very well. I'm going to share the recipe, and then I am going to demonstrate how to make it work. Does that sound good? Okay. You're going to ask an enrolling question that 90% of your ideal audience will want to say yes to. You want to empathize and insert yourself into the situation with something attention-grabbing while positioning yourself as a great guest. You want to share what the host and the audience will learn, and you want to offer a call to action. So let me demonstrate. This was something I tried in a clubhouse room a couple of years ago. It was maybe last year. I can't remember the actual date. But I was in a room where people were making pitches, and most of them were duffing it, meaning not doing a very good job. So when the host moderator said, Nancy, why don't you come to the stage? After hearing a bunch of these that weren't so great, I decided to take a shot. This is what I said. Are you a speaker, thought leader, trainer, or expert whose speaking calendar went completely dark when the pandemic came to call? Boy, do I relate to that. That was my situation too. But instead of sitting on my hands wondering how I was going to make magic happen in my business, I rolled up my sleeve and doubled down on podcast guesting so that I could deliver my message around the world and around the block without leaving my house. And I managed to create a revenue rush for my products, programs, and services. I've since trained thousands of people to learn how to do this. And as a guest on your show, I'll share 3 of my best ninja strategies so that your audience can be blessed in a similar way. My name is Nancy Juetten, and you'll find me on Instagram. Bam, 1 minute. What happened for me is the host said, mic drop, you're going to be a guest on my show. And oh, by the way, I have a top 1% podcast in the United Kingdom, and you're my next guest. What can happen for you when you master this 1 minute audio pitch and can drop it at the invitation of a hat and anytime, anywhere, and stand apart at hello? How much more confident will you be? How much more conviction will you bring to your message? And how many more bookings will you welcome? I hope you're excited about this. So then it comes time to ping-ponging people back into your world, and you're wondering, what am I going to say when the post says, tell me, Chris, it's been great talking to you about Social Impact 360 Studios. What is the one action you want our listeners to take to move in your direction? You need to have something to bring to the party, because that's how you lasso those listeners to become your leads. So what is your call to action? You can do a whole variety of things here. You can say, download my free gift. You can say, book a call with Joe.com. You can say, take my podcast guest readiness assessment. You can say, join my Facebook group and become part of a vibrant community of social impact investors who are making the world a better place, one smart investment at a time. Go to www, whatever it is. Whatever the www is, it needs to be easy to spell, easy to say, and easy to remember, because you have to remember that when people are listening to podcasts, the likelihood is that they're also doing something else. They could be driving their car, taking their kids to school, mowing the lawn, riding their exercise bike. Avoid giving multiple calls to action at the end of a podcast, because the likelihood of them remembering all of that is zero. So if it's book a call with Joe.com, buy a special domain for $12 from your favorite domain registration site and knock yourself out and use it like it's the most important suit in the shed, because you will lasso those listeners. They will download your free report. They will book a call with you. If you're an author and your book isn't yet in your hand, create a preview of your book and make it available before the book's even in your hand. I did that with the 2020 edition of Bye Bye Boring Bio, and it became an Amazon best-selling book in 4 categories, even as a preview. Who even knew this was a thing? Who even knew this was a thing? I have so many ways I can help you create these gifts and make them count. And I hope that you're excited at the prospect. So, wow, look at all this that we've covered today. I think I've covered everything I promised, and we are just at the top of the hour. And I hope that you're getting huge, huge value. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to summarize a suggestion for a next step for you and see where next we can go from here. And as I said at the top of the call, if you're totally full and you got everything you needed and you feel like time to go, well, that's okay too, because this is no hard sell, no hard pitch. What I want you to know and take on as a challenge is to book yourself on one podcast guest spot a week and make it a well-formed habit. Between you and your assistant, you can source these opportunities through the resources that I've suggested to you today, and there's so much more that I can teach you. But if you book yourself on one show a week for 50 weeks, allowing for a couple of weeks of vacation, that could be 50 shows. And if you have a 4-figure offer that's already selling to your ideal client, what is the likelihood that at least one person from every show is going to want to do business with you? It's an incredibly high likelihood, especially if you are discerning about being on the right shows for your message. One podcast guest spot a week, make it a well-formed habit. Make this a key performance indicator in your business so that this activity earns your highest priority. Maybe not your highest priority, but a steady, consistent priority. Bring in the expert reinforcements and be part of a community so you can have the fun spirit of competition to stay in the game and stay accountable for the results, and to also be in a community of people that want to open doors for you and you for them so that the rising tide can lift all the boats. These are the kinds of things that I want you to take the challenge on now, because you know what? It's May 31st. And what you'll quickly find when you start podcast guesting is that you may get booked for an interview next week, next month, tomorrow. It could happen that fast. But the podcast guest spots may not release to a wider audience for a month or 2 or 3. That means that if you don't start podcasting now, it could be the fall before. If you start now, the fall could be a beautiful time for all these podcasts to drop so that you could be seen, heard, helped, and be in a position to lasso leads and clients and cash. If you're one of those people that takes the summer off to hang out with the kids in the pool and doing all these fun things that you like to do, I'm asking you to zig while other people are zagging. While other people are hanging out with the kids and having a lot of fun and doing whatever they're doing, podcast hosts are still looking for amazing guests, and you can book yourself on dozens of shows if you're suitably motivated and you take regular action. And so what I say is start the day searching for some of these sites for opportunities that are right for you and responding to opportunities that are right for you. And then when you've made a hit and made a connection, reward yourself with time at the pool or jogging or whatever it is that you like to do. But take 12 weeks to create a well-formed, consistent habit so that you can own these skills for the lifetime of your successful business and never be hungry for an audience ever again. Anything worth doing well is worth doing consistently. I tip my hat to Jack Canfield, who says that even the largest tree in the forest will come down with 5 swipes of an axe every single day. If you want to book yourself on a podcast a week, take 5 inspired actions every day to advance to achieve that goal, and be consistent, persistent, aim high, follow up, and invite introductions. If you're a top performer like Jack Canfield, he didn't know a whole lot about podcast guesting when the pandemic hit, but he got together with all of his high-performing buddies and said, hey, I'll host you in my mastermind. I'll host you on my Facebook Live. I'll host you in my LinkedIn Live. Hey, do you have a podcast? I've got a YouTube channel. Let's see what we can do together to support each other's success. Top performers hang out with other top performers, so start activating the reticular activating system and say to yourself, podcast guest spots are everywhere. YouTube guest appearances are everywhere. I'm bringing them in and I'm inviting them to me, and I'm going to be inviting people to reciprocate. This is a mindset I want you to take on. So what about, and what if, just about every approach you or your assistant made to secure a booking for you turned into a booking on the right show, and the right listeners fell in love with you and your approach and your style and your personality, and they knew that you were the answer that we were looking for to solve the problem that's keeping them up at night. And you get to show up as the best you with your magnetism, attracting more of the right people who take interest in working with you. And ideal clients come to you pre-sold instead of you chasing them, because they already know what you're about, and it's just a matter of what do they get to buy. And you relate so well to the host that friendships and collaborations naturally bloom from the effort, and you're having fun instead of work. How would that be for you? What would that mean for your visibility, your authority, and your credibility? And more importantly, how urgent is this, and why now? I really want you to consider this. The why now is, if you sleep in the summer, you'll be invisible in the fall, and that's just the way it is. What if you looked at this summer as an opportunity to go to summer school with Nancy Juetten to learn how to become world-class as a podcast guest and as a podcast booker? Between you and your assistant, you can accomplish magnificent things when you make that choice. There's so much more to do and learn, and I would love to show you the way. And so I'm going to dare you to step up. I want you to decide that podcast guesting is going to be your new favorite visibility strategy. I want you to apply for the right opportunities while being discerning, while always aiming high. I want you to resist the temptation to quit, because not everyone will say yes, but the right people will. And I want you to do something every day, because when you do something every day, good things happen. I have this behind me. It says, you can control your actions only, but not its fruits. If you want to be successful, take deliberate, specific steps in the direction that will allow you to be seen, heard, celebrated, and ultimately compensated. And podcast guesting is perfect for you if you love to talk, you love to create relationships with people, you love to listen, and you love to make money. So if you were someone who's saying, oh yeah, I'm going to get around to that sometime, I'm going to get around to that one day, I'm inviting you to drop out of the Getting Ready to Get Ready Club and to join with me to learn how to become masterful in this way. What am I inviting you to do? I'm inviting you to join me in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp and Intimate Group Mastermind. What is it, you may be asking yourself? This is a 12-week journey we take together live, where you're going to master and implement the 6P system for podcast guesting success. And you're going to achieve some remarkable and very specific outcomes. I'll tell you what those outcomes are. See if they intoxicate you. You will book yourself on 12 or more of the right podcasts in 12 weeks because your hot topics, host-friendly bio, talking points, and interview questions are on the money, head-turning, and differentiating enough to break through the clutter. That's a huge win. You're going to discover that you love it, and you're going to commit to booking yourself on a show a week consistently because you love the lead generation, the inbound client inquiries, the new collaborations, and the sales that come your way just by showing up, talking, listening, and being your amazing self. One of my clients did a really elaborate launch not long ago, and there was so much involved, you know, the Instagram and the Facebook and the emails going like crazy. And I shoulder tapped her to be a guest on 2 podcasts that I identified as being perfect for her. And what do you know? Both of the hosts of those shows loved what the conversation was so much that they hired her for her 5-figure offer in both cases. Those were the easiest sales she ever made. And when comparing to the machinations of doing a big launch, the consistency of doing a podcast guest spot on the right show offers huge promise with a whole lot less work. As a client in this program, you're going to dial in your best call to action. I'm going to help you brainstorm what it could be. And if you need help messaging it, I can help you with that too. I think what's really special about our community is it is an intimate, close cohort of top performers who are serious about stepping up and standing out and speaking out. And that means that I am the leader of the group, but there's much depth and breadth in the group among the fellow members where they add value too. The likelihood is you're going to end up collaborating with your fellow members and likely doing business with them. This happens a lot. When you're a client in this program, you're going to also, of course, learn to collaborate with your assistant to accomplish more together than you could achieve on your own. And that means each of you staying in your zone of genius and getting to be masterful at the pieces of podcast guesting that are fun for you and fun for your assistant as well. The program is powerful, and so I'll tell you what's included. And I also want to invite you, if you have the ability to open up a new browser, you can go to getknowngetpaid.com/BYB to see the beautiful invitation page that I've crafted. As a client in this program, we're going to get your media one sheet done and dialed. And not only that, but my team is going to format it beautifully for you so that you have a tool that you can use right out of the gate to get on racetrack running for the roses. That for a lot of people is huge because when we create the media one sheet together, I instantly know who you are, what you do, what makes you special, different, and preferred, and I can bring my messaging magic to support you with making you stand out. The clients that have participated in this say brilliant things. James Hipkin has booked himself on 60 or more podcasts since graduating a few sessions ago. And not only that, but he's the king of getting repeat invitations because he not only knows how to deliver the value, but he knows how to suggest alternative and additional subjects for the podcast host to consider so that he gets invited back. Vicky Delajoyo is a presentation skills coach, and she says that it's one of the best investments in a coaching program she's ever made, that Nancy brings her open-hearted generosity and crystalline brilliance to each member, up-leveling their strategies, sound bites, and opportunities for success, and is by our sides every step of the way. And I already mentioned that I shoulder tap people in the groups to which I belong and say, this is perfect for you. I expect you to apply for this right away. I am like Santa Claus. I know who's been naughty, I know who's been nice, and I'm paying attention to make sure you get every bit of value from what it is I have to bring for you because your success is ultimately my success. I think one of the things I'm the most proud of is the community that I build and the appreciation that my clients feel towards me. Last holiday, I received a Crystal Award called the Star of Excellence Above and Beyond Award, presented to me by the clients in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp for my exemplary expertise in building a supportive community and caring a supportive and caring community that rises together. This is not a course. This is not a module. This is live calls every Tuesday where we're making it happen and doing the work together. What are the logistics? We're going to start on June 13th for 12 amazing weeks. We meet Tuesdays from 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific live by Zoom. I want to point out something about the schedule. Because it is summertime, we're actually going to be together for 14 weeks because July 4th is a holiday in the United States of America, and I'm pretty sure you're not going to want to meet with me that day. And on July 31st, I have another speaking commitment that's going to take me out. So we're going to consider those 2 weeks integration weeks. And if it happens that you are on vacation those occasions, then that's serendipity and destiny. And isn't that awesome? But 14 weeks to get this mission accomplished, we can do it. What is your option? As I said at the top of the call, you can hire a top booking agency for $2,500 a month, or you can learn these skills and own them forever so you're never hungry for an audience ever again. The investment to be part of my program is $29.97 for you as the top performer. And if you bring your assistant along, it's $500 more for your assistant. And you can visit the page that's shown in the chat, getknowngetpaid.com/BYB, so that you can read all about it, read all the testimonials, decide if this is something that you're super excited about, and say yes. Now, are there bonuses? Yes, there are bonuses. And bonuses add a lot of value to your experience. And I am going to see if I can share my screen so I can show you the bonuses. Because bonuses are meaningful to people, and they may be meaningful to you too. Can you see my screen? Very good. Number one, I'm not doing these in any particular order, but you will receive my copy of Bye Bye Boring Bio. The spiral bound version is going to wing its way to your doorstep so that you can read how to make your bio and media one sheet brilliant straight away. The examples and resources within this best-selling resource are going to be yours and part of your business success library forever. Finding people who want to guest and swap is a concern that some people have. And when you join my program, you get to receive a 3-month trial membership to the Self-Growth JV Directory, which is a robust online community of entrepreneurs, experts, thought leaders, and people up to big things who are receptive to collaborating, swapping podcast guest spots, and accomplishing even more strategic alliances. This is a very valuable benefit that gives you access to thousands of people, and it is a bonus to you to support your success more fully than we can do within our own intimate cohort. I know that there are some of you that struggle with being a master of new client enrollment, or how to qualify your best potential clients with an assessment, or how to create your irresistible lead magnet, or how to book yourself on more stages, and how to make the most of joint venture collaborations. I have bonus training packed within this program that you can avail yourself to 24/7 wherever you are in the world to bridge those gaps that need to be addressed so that you can be a more fully competent and capable professional who accomplishes great things in the shopping cart and beyond. I also have the Podcast to Profits tracking system I'll be making available to you so you never miss an important booking. And there are other benefits besides. So when you get to the invitation page, study these bonuses and know that they have additional value beyond what it is that the program allows. Remember that if you are a top performer with a 4-figure offer and you're on 12 shows and 12 people decide to do business with you at your 4-figure offer, you've gotten a return on your investment very quickly and everything else is frosting. And to me, that sounds like a lot of cake. And I hope you're excited about that. So what is my guarantee? I've been teaching this program since March of 2020 with excellent results. You can read the testimonials, watch the testimonial videos that are posted within the guides tab of the Facebook group and be gobsmacked. My action taker guarantee is this: I will show up for you for every call, and I expect you to show up too. I want you to do the work as we assign it every week, and I want you to take the feedback to improve. You show up, I show up. Your success is determined by your own actions. I'll go the extra mile for you, but you got to meet me out there, because anything less is simply not good enough. If you're the kind of person that joins programs, puts your toe in the water and hopes for the best and then asks for a refund, my program is not for you. My program is for action takers who are damn serious about getting this done. And I want to be crystal clear about that, because my velvet boot of accountability insists that you get things done and that you win. And if my velvet boot of accountability has a sharper edge because you're not doing the work, be prepared for that, because my whole success is dependent on you succeeding beyond your wildest dreams. So show up with that intention and I will meet you there. It could be that you've heard all of this and it sounds really great to you, but maybe for whatever reason, you'd rather work with me privately. And if that's of interest to you, you can go to getknowngetpaid.com/apply so that you can tell me a little bit about your business and what's going on with the revenue equation and where you're getting stuck. And if I feel that I can help you and you're a good candidate, we'll book a call. And you'll notice that when you go there, you'll see the tuition to work with me privately is transparently stated. If this is not something that you can do, that's okay. Just be mindful of making the best use of both of our time. Tire kickers, not welcome. Action takers, absolutely. If you don't know what to do, the group or working with me privately, or you want to do both and you want to know how we can make that happen, by all means, let's get on the phone and have a chat. You can go to getknowngetpaid.com/quick chat with Nancy, and we can get a call on the calendar and we can make the decision that's right for you. Some of you are probably thinking, this has been so helpful. I learned so much, but Nancy, you're such a fast talker. I don't know if I can make a decision right this very minute. Did I get that right? I bet you I got that right. So here's the thing. We're going to make available a limited time only replay, and you'll have the opportunity to watch it through June 5th. And you can also share it with other people that you think can benefit. You'll have a lot to talk about. But I invite you to make a mindful choice and come on board this summer for the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp and Intimate Group Mastermind. Get on the path to book 12 of the right podcasts in 12 weeks or something better, just like Joe and Holly did and so many prior graduates of the training. I promise you, you're going to have fun, you're going to get results, you're going to sharpen your saw, and you're going to be visible, credible, authoritative, and well compensated once you get in the game and make it a well-formed habit. So I hope that you have gotten value from our call today. I hope that you feel blessed by the value that I brought. I know we ran a little bit long, but if there's any outstanding questions that I can address for you while we're all together here now, I'm more than happy to address them if there is anything I can do to support you in this particular moment. So let's just see what everybody's saying. And I should also ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being this was an excellent investment of my time and resources today, and 1, I'd rather have been somewhere else, how did I do? Thank you, Andrea. 10. Tony, 10. 10, 10, recommend. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, Diane. I love the exclamation points. Awesome. Barbara, thank you. Who's got questions? I'm still here. We still got quite a few people here.
So there were a couple questions that came up in the chat, Nancy. One of them from Glenn, and he asked, what would you recommend as a gift to the listeners?
Well, Glenn, it sort of depends on what you do. Glenn, are you still on the call? Because if you want to unmute yourself.
Oops.
Are you there, Glenn?
I believe he jumped. He had to go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry you had to go. A free gift should be something relevant and congruent to what you do so it makes sense. I help people get known and get paid. I'm not going to offer steak knives. So I hope that answers the question. Any other questions, Holly?
Yes, there's one from Anne and Mara, which unfortunately they both had to jump as well, but they asked if you could, or what were the 3 E's again?
Oh, energy, engagement, and enthusiasm. I believe you should live in the triple E zone or bust, because we only have one life to live. Let's make sure that we're doing things that we love to do, that we're good at, and that we delegate those things that we cringe around to others who can take those on as their favorite thing to do. Divide and conquer, that's the win.
And it looks like Glenn actually just jumped back on.
Glenn, are you able to unmute and tell me what kind of business you're in?
Absolutely. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, hey, nice to see you.
Hello. Fantastic information. You are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what I do is I help landlords and property owners, rental property owners, maximize their rentals, increase cash flow, reduce tenant vacancies, reduce tenant challenges, and just smooth operating rentals and increase passive income. That's what I do.
Okay. And you're wondering what you could do for a free gift.
Yes.
You might want to go to ChatGPT today and say, the gift idea would be, these are the 10 action items any landlord or property owner should embrace to recruit the best tenants, collect the most rent, and earn the most favorable reputation for your geography. Is that sort of relevant?
Very much so, yeah. And as we know with the Chat GPT, it's about asking the right questions. And I can formulate that. And the example you used today were phenomenal. And especially with the bio and that was fantastic. So I definitely can make that work. And I think that's a great idea. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I hope you'll consider joining me for the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp. It's the best thing I do.
Thank you very much.
See how I was able to just hear him, ask a question or two, and then come back with something that was relevant, congruent, and possibly workable? Some people just get lost alone in their room trying to come up with these ideas, and then they never get into action. And so the beauty of our program is that I'm going to guide you through 12 weeks. It's 6 weeks of content and 6 weeks of live office hours. So the first call, we're going to dial in your media one sheet, and we're going to make sure that we've got something that's going to break through the clutter. The next week, we're going to workshop the media one sheets to see what we need to do to make them better and to answer any questions that came up live. The next week, we're going to talk about positioning, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more than I did today. And then we're going to talk about each of their various members of what they can do to stand apart. And it's the interaction that happens just like this where people get the real value, because I have been a publicist for my whole life. I've been a messaging maven since I could hold a pen. And this is a particular genius that I have that is hard to put in a bottle and put a name on it. But you know, when you experience it, it's obvious. And I want that for every one of you who decides to join me in my program. Any other questions, Holly?
That was all. That was it.
Well, I want to answer a question that probably some of you might be wondering. At the top of the call, you heard this beautiful music interlude from my nephew, a musical theater performer who I asked to write. I took the song Popular from the musical The Wicked, and I rewrote the lyrics to reinforce podcast guesting and all the great value that I bring. And I want you to know that I asked him to sing it. He delivered it like a pro. If you know of anybody that's looking for a brilliant Broadway vocalist who's got great talent, my nephew, Zachary Hansen, is his name. He's fabulous. And so I'm going to sing us out with Zachary singing the Visible song. Listen to the lyrics. I have fun. I'm going to teach you how to do stuff, but I'm going to write a song and have some fun with it, because that's one of the things that makes me special, different, and preferred. I'm not a boring teacher. I'm an active, engaged, creative word wizard who cares nothing more than for you to succeed beyond your wildest dreams. So my parting salvo is, join me this summer for the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp. You're going to have a great time. You're going to get great results. We're going to become great friends, and we're going to accomplish magnificent things together. And if you want to work with me privately, let me hear from you and let's talk about it. And with that, I say thank you all for being here. And I'm now going to play that song one more time, and you can tap your toe and enjoy it. I think this is just a hoot and a holler, and I hope that you agree. I'm trying to find it. It'll be worth the wait. 1 second, please. Oh, I hate when I can't find things right away. Stay with me. It'll be okay. Get known, get paid, /blog. And here we go. Here it's, it'll be fun. It'll get your toe tapping for the rest of the day. And thank you for being here. I look forward to our chats. I look forward to seeing you say yes. And if you've got questions for me, I'm over that. Let me know how I can help you. But I know this is going to be fun, and I know you're going to love it. So with that, thank you for your kind and generous attention. And I will look forward to seeing you in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp starting on June 13th. With that, here is the Visible song presented by Z Hansen, lyrics rewritten by yours truly. Bye-bye for now.
Whenever I see someone less visible than I, and let's face it, lots of folks are less visible than I, my tender heart tends to start to bleed. And when someone needs a makeover, I simply have to take over. I know exactly what they need. And even in your case, though it's the toughest case I've yet to face, don't worry, I'm determined to succeed. Follow my lead, and yes, indeed, you will be visible. You're gonna be visible. I'll teach you the proper poise when you talk to hosts, little ways to stand out and shine. I'll show you what mic to use, how to share your CTA, everything that really counts to be visible. I'll help you be visible. You'll hang with the right hosts. You'll get to talk about sports, know the slang you've got to know. So let's start, because you've got an awfully long way to go. Don't be offended by my frank analysis. Think of it as podcast guest dialysis. Now that I've chosen to become a pal, a brother and advisor, there's nobody wiser, not when it comes to getting visible. I know about visibility, and with an assist from me to be who you'll be instead of dreary who you were. There's nothing that can stop you from becoming visible. La, 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 la. We're gonna make you visible. When I see depressing creatures who are clueless about making the most of podcast features, I remind them on their own behalf to think of celebrated heads of state or especially great communicators. Did they have brains or knowledge? Don't make me laugh. They were visible. Please, it's all about being visible. It's not about aptitude. It's the way you're viewed. So it's very shrewd to be very, very visible like me.
What do you think about that, people? Isn't that just fantastic? I just love talent. I love talent. And you all have talent, and it needs to be amplified. And if I am your podcast visibility amplifier, I would love for you to join me in my program. I'd love to work with you privately. I'd love to welcome your referrals to enjoy this amazing replay. It's available through June 5th. Who's saying yes to me today? I would love to hear from you. I want to extend a special thanks to Holly Lawrence for supporting me today during this call, and for Jackie Operman, my assistant behind the scenes. You're both rock stars. I want to thank every joint venture partner that referred a lead, a client, a community to participate today. I hope you feel incredibly blessed by what was happening today and the value that you gained. And I just can't wait to see who I get to work with in the next intimate cohort. I hope it's got your name on it, and I can't wait to play. So with that, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time. And if you want to save the chat, all you have to do is hit the 3 little dots in the right-hand side of your screen, and you can save the chat. And then you can get in touch with people as it seems appropriate. Barb and Gracia, so good to see you here today. Yay. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.